The Nasdaq is pushing towards all-time highs, but this is where traders really need to start paying attention, because the next move from here could be really, really massive, right? There's one major area standing between Nasdaq and fresh all-time highs, and if buyers manage to break through this level, we could see a price accelerate very, very quickly. But if we reject here, this entire move could potentially turn into a trap. So in today's video, I'm going to go and break down exactly what I'm seeing in the Nasdaq, the key levels I'm personally watching, and where I think price could be heading to next. Let's get straight into the chart. So first, I want to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, because I think this is extremely important. So you can see I'm on the daily time frame right now, and when we look at the Nasdaq on the higher time frame, the market has clearly been showing strength. You can see for the past literally since March until current price action, we are up around about 34%. Okay, so every time we've seen weakness come into the markets, buyers had continued to step back in. So you can see over here we did actually break this previous structure, but price continued to hold it, right? So we've been seeing pullbacks getting bought, we've been seeing key support levels being held, and most importantly, price continues to push back up towards these previous highs. So now there's a lot of traders that are making a mistake. So when people see prices at these levels, they really think that it's too expensive. Then they start simply trying to short the market because price is too high. But the market being at all-time high doesn't automatically mean it needs to come down. If momentum remains strong and buyers continue stepping in, price can continue pushing more higher than you expect, right? So you don't actually know the cap, because if you do bring the Fibonacci from this low over here to this high, we have extensions to the upside, right? We can put an extension of let's put the 0.3, let's change this to a negative, just like that. And these are the key zones that you should be watching out for the Nasdaq's next reversal, right? So if momentum is so strong, then people could be still buying it up to these zones. So if we look at the trend here, Nasdaq is still maintaining bullish structure, and we're seeing higher highs and higher lows being created, and buyers will continue to defend these dips, right? You can see every time we have defend these dips. So for me, as long as structure remains intact, I still have to respect this bullish side of the market. So let's talk about all-time high. There's obviously a major level is everyone watching, right? And these are the key zones, right? There's also these zones over here where people are watching for a potential long. Right, if price were to come back down to this zone, this is a key zone that I'll be watching out for, right? So you got to wait for breakout traders, right? So breakout traders are going to be watching like this previous high getting broken out, and then if the Nasdaq starts pushing its all-time high, I don't personally want to just blindly enter a long position. I want to see how price reacts. So if we do get a breakout, you want to see price break above this previous high with strong momentum, and if we get the retest and then buyers start defending that previous resistance as support, that's where the setup becomes more interesting to me, right? Because at that point we are not trying to predict the breakout, we are allowing the market to confirm the move first. And if we get confirmation, I think the Nasdaq can potentially move into price discovery, which is these zones above us, right? So we have this first zone being 33,000, and then we have this zone being 35,000, and then we have this zone being 36,000. These are key zones that I'm going to be watching. So once price moves into price discovery, things can start moving very quickly because there isn't previous structure sitting above us. That's where momentum traders can start entering the market. That's where traders who were short can start getting stopped out, and all the buying pressure can potentially push the market even higher. But there's also another scenario we need to talk about, and that's a potential fake breakout, right? Imagine Nasdaq pushes an all-time high, everyone starts getting bullish, traders start entering longs, and then suddenly price closes straight back down below the previous high. So for me, that is the major warning sign, because what we potentially don't, done with the sweep of liquidity above the highs and trap late buyers, if I see a strong rejection from the all-time high followed in a breakout in a lower time frame bullish structure, then that's when I would personally become much more cautious on longs, right? And potentially start even looking for shorts to the downside. So my plan is very simple. Scenario 1 is bullish scenario. Nasdaq breaks all-time high, we start seeing a strong close above the level, price comes back and retests previous high, and buyers defend the breakout area. And if I see that, I'm going to look for a bullish continuation and potentially a further move higher. Scenario 2 is a bearish scenario. So price pushes up into all-time high over here, and we see a strong rejection candle. Nasdaq closes back below the level, and then we see, then we start looking bullish structure in the lower time frames getting broken. And if that happens, I'm not going to force longs. So I'm waiting for the market to confirm weakness, and then potentially look for a short for opportunities on the retest, right? Because you can look for a short for the Nasdaq if you want to be looking to short, you want to be looking to take profits at these areas below us. You don't have to predict the market, what it's going to do. You just have to have a plan for both scenarios. So if price does this, I look for longs. If price does this, I look for shorts. That's how personally I'm going to be watching the market, and that's the approach that I'm going to take. So now another thing I'm going to be watching is the reaction and the key intraday levels. I'm going to be looking for previous day high, low. I'm going to be looking for the POC of the areas. So basically how I do that is pretty simple, right? What I like to do is I like to go in the daily time frame, and I also like to put this on. We'll go in the 4 hour first. Put the session breaks on, and essentially this gives us the previous day open and close of each day, right? So what if you go on the 4 hour time frame and the 15, you can actually go to the left hand side over here and grab your volume profile. So basically what I'm looking at for here is essentially, so it looks like we did freeze there, but essentially you want to go to settings. You want to get your previous session breaks, your previous day open and your previous day close, and essentially these are the key levels that I'm watching out for, right? So we have the fixed range volume profile, which you bring from the previous day to the open, and this is the zone that you want to be looking for a potential short, right? And the thing is, intraday levels like this, if price were to close above the zone, then you can look for previous, you can look for a potential long going into previous high, right? So the key zones that we spoke about already were, if we do get that breakout, price discovery can be 33,000, 35,000, and 36,000. But if price were to actually get a breakdown from this current zone, then we could potentially look for a short all the way back down to this zone. So intraday levels right now for the Nasdaq is looking at this zone over here at 29,800. Coming into this zone is a key zone because price from yesterday, traded the most volume at that zone. Okay, we obviously had NFP yesterday, but what I like to say is don't get caught chasing breakout candles, and most importantly, wait for confirmation, right? Because if confirmation tells us that, taking a long right now just doesn't make sense, or taking a short that doesn't make sense right now, we have to wait for price to get to these levels. Whether that's confirmed breakout on the new highs or liquidity sweep followed by a larger rejection, I'm going to be watching this area extremely closely. I'll continue sharing my setups and market outlook as this move develops. And if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a like for the video, and let me know in your comments what you think about the Nasdaq and also about the breakout for new all-time highs, or are we going to see a massive rejection from here? So I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully you guys understand what I'm looking at for the Nasdaq.